Hello, everyone, and welcome to Albion Obsessed. Today, we're going to be doing a little prediction for you. But before we get onto that, let's see who we are joined by today. We welcome back Aaron. Aaron, my friend, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, Tom. Good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, can't complain, mate. Can't complain. I'm enjoying my half term and I'm enjoying the Jubilee extra long weekend. So good skills all round.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Dan, how are you doing, mate? You all okay?
Yeah, but I'm all good, thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Good skills, and I'm very aware that I've just made the most random little noise in the world. So that was a good start to the episode. Okay. Today, guys, we're coming at you with a very special episode. We are going to try and predict the Premier League table for the next season. Now, we are doing this before the transfer window has opened, so God knows what's going to happen in terms of transfers. Who knows? For all we know, Nottingham Forest might come up and have a war chest of 500 million and buy Mbappe. Who knows? So we're going to do this based on where we think the teams are going to finish. We obviously don't know what's going to happen in terms of transfers, so we're just going to sort of be doing a lot of guesswork. So yeah, and what's going to happen is we're going to come back to this video in a year's time, and we're going to see which one of us had the most correct guesses. Now we're going to do it that for each team that is in the right place, the host gets a point. Now, mathematically, the chances of us getting anywhere near 20 points is like, next to impossible. However, I think if we use some good guesswork, we might get a couple. And the host that gets the most points will win a little prize. And the host that gets the least points will have to get a tattoo of Dan Burn on their bottom. No, that's not true. That's not true.
I hope I lose.
Yeah, that wasn't true. That wasn't true. But the host that lose has to hang their head in shame. So, it's just a game. It's just a bit of fun. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to start at the bottom. So I'm going to come to you first, Dan, and I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to finish bottom of the Premier League table next season?
I've got Bournemouth. I believe Bournemouth, I didn't think they'll come back up personally. I don't. The stadium's not great. Obviously that's not their fault. But obviously, they're not really bringing much revenue in from the stands. I don't think they really spend much anyway in transfer windows. I think you can sort of see the same thing happen with Norwich and Watford. Basically, they don't spend a lot of money to try and survive. They're just waiting till the winter and obviously try and get desperate players out of other teams. But yeah, that's my pick. But I think Bournemouth. I think they're really going to struggle this year.
Decent shout, mate. Decent shout. Logical. Aaron, what do you think?
I've gone for Forest. I from what I've seen of them during the championship, I don't think they're really that great. They got lucky to get. Well, I say lucky. They were lucky to scrape through against Sheffield United in the semi-final, and very lucky not to, with the penalties and stuff in the final itself. Obviously, it doesn't, reflect on how their season gone. Obviously, when Cooper took over, they were like second or third from bottom, and he got them into the Premier League in the same season. That in itself is a massive achievement. I just don't think their squad's good enough. Not to be horrible, I don't think it is. I can't see Sam Sturridge and Lewis grabbing goals for you in the Premier League. I can't see it. And if they do sign Calvin Davis, that's a bit of a bonus, but he's not a Premier League goal scorer. And the only really bright spark in that team is probably Brendan Johnson, to be fair, which I think if they didn't go up, I think he would have left anyway. Yeah, it'd be a difficult season for him, I think.
Yeah, I think the gulf between the Premier League and the Championship is getting wider. If you look at Bournemouth, their talisman striker Dominic Solanke, he go on loan to Sheffield United and he never did anything. Of course, that was when Sheffield United were going down. But even so, I think the gulf between the two divisions is massive. And I think for strikers, it's very easy to tear it up in the Championship, but not put not be able to do that in the Premier League. I mean, look at Mitrovic for Fulham. All time, absolutely destroyed the division this year. Whether he can do that in the Premier League is another thing entirely when you've got world-class defenders. But anyway, that's about that. Let's talk about my prediction. I too have gone for Bournemouth. I've seen nothing from Bournemouth this season that makes me sort of think that. I think they'll have to do a lot of spending to stay up next season. I think they will find it tricky. I've got nothing against Bournemouth as a club. I'd rather have them in the Premier League than some other teams. However, I just think they're going to really struggle next season. Happy to come back to this in a year's time and have them still up. But for me, I've gone for Bournemouth, as has Joe, who has sent me his list as well. So myself, Joe and Dan have gone for Bournemouth, and Aaron has gone for Forest in 20th. So let's go one peg higher and talk about the next team. So Aaron, who have you gone for 19th?
For me, I've gone for Bournemouth. I've gone for Bournemouth in 19th. Again, similar to Forest, I don't think their squad is good enough for the Premier League. I think they've got some good players in that team. I think you've got Lewis Cook, even to be fair, Kiefer Moore. What I think is actually a very good old school striker, which is he's a big lump, and he done well for Wales when he's played for them, and he does score goals. He does score a goal at Championship level, but can he do it in the big time? I can't see it. And Solanke as well. He scored a stupid amount of goals in the Championship, but as previous years have shown, he struggles in the Prem. Yeah, another yo-yo club. I think someone said it earlier about Norwich. It's what I imagine Bournemouth are probably going to be for the next couple of years, because they don't tend to spend big in the Premier League. When they do, they seem to invest in the wrong type of players, and that seems to cost them. So yeah, 19th Bournemouth for me.
Yep. So all four of us, three of us, and then Joe, who couldn't be with us today, have all gone for Bournemouth to get relegated. Dan, who have you gone for in 19th?
I've gone Southampton. I'm not sure they're going to lose their main strike. I don't think they're going to sign Brozier on permanent leagues. I think Chelsea are playing hardball with them, and probably want to see if they can fit into their squad, which obviously I think really they don't really need a striker. They're happy doing a false nine. But yeah, I think Southampton, they sort of do well, don't do well, do well, don't do well. I think eventually that's not doing well is going to probably fall down.
Yeah, I think Southampton, if they lose, all it takes for them to lose is decent enough players. Look at James Ward-Prowse. I think, generally speaking, if he goes, they're going to really struggle to replace him. They do seem to be a club that has a very yo-yo season. One minute they're playing amazingly, the next minute they're atrocious. So my condolences to Southampton fans. Let's hope that Dan's prediction for you, at least, Southampton fans, is incorrect. I've gone for Fulham in 19th. I think they're just the epitome of a yo-yo club. I think they're too good for the Championship, but I just don't think they take the step up to the Premier League particularly well. Mitrovic, as I've already alluded to, scores hatfuls in the Championship, but never seems to be able to quite put that into practice in the Premier League. If they can get him firing on all cylinders, I think they can survive, but I've not seen anything over the last, decade, I suppose, of Fulham. I haven't seen enough to convince me that they aren't just going to go straight back down. And I'm also going to give you Joe's, and Joe has also gone for 19th place, Fulham. So there you go, guys. Myself and Joe have gone for Fulham. Aaron has gone for Bournemouth, and Dan has gone for Southampton. So let's chat the final position in the relegation. In terms of relegation, Joe has gone for Southampton. So I assume, Dan, he's gone for the very same sort of thing as you. For me, at points, it only seems like a matter of time before Southampton are in that equation of relegation. So Joe's gone for Southampton. Aaron, who have you gone for? Who have you tipped to take the last relegation place?
Now it's to piss off the entire fan base of Leeds United, and I can tell you for why. I think the struggles this year will continue into next year. I don't know what there seems to be a disconnect in that team somewhere. I can't figure out why. Like, they've got fantastic players in that team, but they seem to just turn up when they want. They sort of float in and out of games. Um, you know, I don't know if it's because they lacked confidence during the course of last season, or made them look like they were bang average, even / poor Premier League players. But if that doesn't improve next year, it's going to be the same. It will be the same as the season just gone. And my 17th and 18th, it all depends on certain things, which I'll go on to shortly. Yeah, I cannot see at the moment. I cannot see Leeds staying up next year. I can't.
It's funny you say that, because I too have gone for Leeds to be relegated. I think, similar to you, Aaron, I think their struggles will continue. I think I think they'll lose some of their better players, and I think they'll just really struggle to recapture that form they had last season under Bielsa. I think they'll struggle with that, and if they keep doing this kamikaze defending, leaving gaps for days, I think teams are just going to keep exploiting that. And I think it's like we've said about Potter at times. Sometimes you've got to change your game plan. You've got to play a different way, a different style, because if it's not working in the Premier League, you'll get found out and you will suffer. And it's easier to get away with stuff like that in the lower leagues, but in the Premier League, all it takes is a couple of games without a win, and the fans are on your back. You're staring down, the table, going, "Oh, we're rooted to the foot here." It's dodgy.
I think one thing as well. I think they're missing that striker. I think that's been also a major issue from this year. If they get a striker in and they keep Bamford fit, then maybe they will. Because goals obviously win games, win points. You stay up. It's not rocket science. But with going from last year, well, this season, last season, if Bamford doesn't get fit and keeps getting these knocks and niggles, and they don't sign a striker, then that's when they'll be down where they are. If they do sign a striker, they do get Bamford fit, then obviously they'll probably finish higher. But at the moment, as things are, no, they're going down.
Agreed. Dan, who have you tipped to be relegated next season?
I'm going to annoy a lot of people, especially those lot on the road. I've gone for Palace. I think really, a lot of I think Zaha again wants to go. They just need to get rid of him. Just whatever amount they want to throw money at him to take him off. Whatever. I'm sick of if reading it every 5 minutes that he wants to go, and then go, no, but he's one of us. But he clearly doesn't want to be one of you. So what's the point of loving him? I'm the same with Gallagher, obviously lone player. I can't see them getting him back in unless the pull for Vieira is that great. It's still got an aging squad, really. Great as you're right, he can keep going in his day. I'll tell everyone else. I can't think of anybody else who probably. Obviously, you do say Leeds. Obviously, I'll come to Leeds now. I got them on my table.
Yeah, I think with Palace, it very much depends on, as I've alluded to in the previous episode when we were chatting about team of the season. I think Vieira has done a decent job. Gallagher made my team of the season, but it's all about what they can do. Can they keep hold of Eze? Can they keep Zaha at the club? Can they bring someone of the quality of Gallagher in if they can't get Gallagher to sign a permanent contract? I suppose that's the same with most teams. But as I say, last season I tipped them to go down, and they didn't. So shows what I know anyway. So there you have it, guys. We've just chatted about the relegation spot. So just to clarify, in 18th, Joe went for Southampton. Myself and Aaron went for Leeds, and Dan went for that lot up the road. So now let's come to lower mid-table, you might call it. Aaron, who do you think is just going to survive relegation?
See, when I was saying about it was tight between 18th and 17th, it's gone. My 17th squad's gone to Fulham, and that all depends if Mitro starts firing, they'll stay up because he is an old school centre forward who just scores goals for fun, which he does, but he can't do it at Premier League level for some reason. If they can feed him, he will score, and other than that, I don't know where goals will come from in that team. I really don't. Obviously, they're losing Carvalho to Liverpool, one of their youngsters, and he's a fantastic player. He's top draw. That's a hell of a signing. He will be big time. Other than that, they haven't really got any sort of out and out really good striker, really, and that's what I think could let them down if Mitrovic doesn't start scoring.
Yeah, it's all a lot of Fulham's hopes, I think, depend on Mitrovic. As I've already said in my bit about Fulham, if they can get him scoring, I think they can survive, but remains to be seen. For my pick, I've also gone for one of the newly promoted teams, and I've gone for Forest. I'm not quite sure why, but I just think that Forest might make a better go of it than, say, Bournemouth and Fulham. Maybe that's because it's been a long time since Forest have been in the Premier League, and they might want to just cement their place a bit more than perhaps Bournemouth and Fulham. Not that they wouldn't, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing it because I've got a friend that's a Forest supporter and he's really excited at the moment. Bless him. But no, I'm going to tip Forest to stay up by the skin of their teeth, mind you. But I think Forest might just surprise us in the transfer window and just, really, strengthen that squad and do just about enough, to stay up. How about you, Dan? Who do you think is going to just avoid relegation?
My pick is Brentford. They did quite well this season. I think it's going to be come down to obviously when we think about second season syndrome, all that stuff. I can't, as you say about with Ericsson, if he's not there, I can see him being there. They can only hope that if he stays, that I'll be completely wrong. So.
It's funny, isn't it? A lot of the teams we've already spoken about, a lot of their hopes almost hinge on just one or two players. Because all it takes is for an established Premier League side, even for us, to lose a player or two, and suddenly it's a very different prospect. And with Fulham, all it takes is one player perhaps to be really on the ball, and then suddenly their fortunes can be turned around. It shows you just how fine the margins are in the Premier League. And Joe, talking about fine margins, has also gone for Leeds just to scrape and avoid relegation for the second season in a row. Leeds were very lucky not to go down this season. If we had beaten them, I think that would have been game over for Leeds. Personally, I think they would have been quite dejected after that. But Joe has tipped them to just survive for next season as well. So nice quick recap. Aaron's gone for Fulham. I've gone for Forest. Dan has gone for Brentford, and Joe has gone for Leeds. So let's start looking a bit higher up the table. Let's look at 16th. Dan, who have you gone for in 16th?
I've got Forest. I believe that they've. I think if they keep their core squads together, because they've beaten Premier League teams in the cup, so they can clearly. I've got players that can play this level, so they must be able to play all right in the league. So that's what I think. I think they'll do all right, but I think it's going to be quite close to the bottom. I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a quite tight fight, as you say, at the bottom this next season. As it was this season, it might go down to the final day again. Of course, so much football needs to be played. Two transfer windows, so we don't know what's going to happen, but it's safe-ish bet. How about you, Aaron? 16th, who you feeling?
I've gone for Southampton. I think they're lacking quite a lot without Ward-Prowse. If he does get injured or he does go, don't score enough goals. I just think they'll just they'll be there or thereabouts in the relegation zone. just either floating above it, like just where I put them in 16.
Yeah, fair dues, fair dues. And myself and Joe have once again gone for the same team, and we've both gone for Brentford. Now, whether that's going to be second season syndrome, I don't know. But as Dan's already alluded to, all it takes is perhaps losing Christian Eriksen, Ivan Toney, and suddenly Brentford are looking over their shoulder because maybe they haven't got the strongest squad. I really rate Thomas Frank as a manager. I really do. I think they will survive next season, but I think they'll find it a bit harder than they did this season. So just to recap, Dan's gone for Forest. Aaron has gone for... Aaron, remind me, my brain has gone fried. Who of you did you go for, mate?
Southampton, I went for.
Southampton. I thought it was, but I didn't want to say Southampton just in case I was wrong. And myself and Joe have gone for Brentford. It's interesting you said Southampton. I've tipped them to survive. I've tipped them to finish 15th next season. Again, similar to Brentford, I don't think they'll be tearing up any trees. But I don't think they've got much more to be really challenging for the upper mid-table, top 10. So I've gone for them in 15th place. And Joe has gone for our friends up the road, Crystal Palace, to finish 15th. Maybe he's feeling the same as you, Dan. Maybe all it takes is Gallagher to leave, Eze to leave, and then suddenly Palace aren't looking as strong as they have been this season at times going forward. Have you gone for, Dan? What have you thought about in 15th place?
This is where I can talk about it now. So Leeds, I've gone for. I believe, like, if they do sell Rafinha, sell Phillips, because Rafinha's wanted by Barcelona and Phillips wanted, I think, by many clubs. I think like up to 18 million. I think I've seen somewhere. So they can probably use that money to sort of say striker issues and replacing those players with something similar quality. But yeah, I think the new manager, I think he's sort of he does seem like he can get the players playing properly. Unlike with Bielsa, obviously there's the god to them for some reason, even though he's now not in a job. But yeah, I believe that they can do all right, not great.
Bielsa discovered Ben White, don't you know? Aaron, who have you gone for, mate?
I've gone for Brentford. It could, like you guys said, it could be another, second season syndrome. But if they keep Eriksen, which obviously that it may still happen, doubtful, but it may do. That in itself could be enough. And if they invest, it's all in their hands now. It's all in their hands, and just have to see what happens. Apologies for the text message tone going off there.
It's all right, mate. I'm struggling to keep my brain intact. So 15th, I've gone for Southampton. Joe's gone for Palace. Dan's gone for Leeds, and Aaron has gone for Brentford. So interesting that most of the teams we've already discussed are, very much there or thereabouts at the bottom. So let's move a bit further up the table and let's chat about 14th. Now, in 14th, myself and Joe have once again picked the same team, and we've gone for Everton. So this season has been a really tough one for Everton. And I don't know why, but something's telling me that they're going to really struggle to bounce back. I don't think it's going to go down to like the last two games like it did this season. I think they will improve. But I don't know if Frank Lampard is the man to get them playing the sort of football and draw the sort of players that they need to start climbing the table, finishing inside the top 10, the top 8 again. I think Frank Lampard's a bit of an overrated manager, if I'm honest. I don't think this whole sort of ideology of, he's a fantastic player, therefore he must be a fantastic coach necessarily rings true. So it'll be a very interesting season for Everton next year, whether or not they can escape the sort of, the disaster that has been their season this year. Aaron, who did you pick for 14th place, mate?
I've gone for Everton as well for the exact same reason you did.
Nice and easy. So 3 for Everton. Dan, any difference on that?
Yeah, I've gone for Fulham. I believe with Fulham, obviously losing Cavalli, obviously that's a big loss for them. It's basically, as we've all keep discussing for most of the other teams, they've got to basically get him firing, and I've got his name now, but yeah, their striker firing again, and basically get rid of some players obviously that were in the Premier League last season that weren't very good. I've always believed, obviously, with Marco Silva at the helm, they do a lot better. Because I really, as you can tell by having Bournemouth at the bottom, I don't rate Scott Parker as a manager in the Premier League at all. But yeah, that's my pick.
So there you go, guys. You've got 3 for Everton and 1 for Fulham, tipping Fulham to stay up. Let's go up one more place and talk about unlucky 13th. Well, unlucky for some, but Joe has picked Forest. So Joe has picked Forest to survive the drop in their first season back in the Premier League. I have gone for Newcastle. Now, Newcastle have obviously had their big takeover. And there's lots of fans going, oh, we're going to sign Mbappe. We're going to sign Messi. We're going to sign blah, 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 blah. Because obviously they are now, I think, the richest club in world football. I don't want them to finish higher than 13th. Just because I don't want to see that sort of model of football, getting the reward. Because I don't think that it's the right thing to do. So I've gone for Newcastle to finish in 13th, just because I'm spiteful like that. Sorry, Dan Burn. Dan, how do you feel about unlucky 13?
I've gone for Everton. I believe with Everton, obviously, I think they're going to struggle again with the players they've got. I keep saying this all the time when I talk about Everton. Is that they need to get rid of some deadwood. There's a lot of deadwood in that squad on big wages that need to get rid of, and basically either give the youth a chance or go out and spend some money. Which if they can spend any money, because I don't think they've got much left. But just try and recruit some of the money they've wasted on these players and try again. But I don't think they'll get any higher than lower mid table maybe.
So all of us have, tipped Everton to struggle again next season. I'm sure Everton fans, if they are listening or watching, probably very angry with us right now. But Aaron, who have you gone for unlucky 13?
I've gone for Aston Villa. Disappointing season last year, and I think it's going to be the same this year. This year coming up, they've already made signings already. I think Camara is a very good signing. I just don't think Steven Gerrard's the right man. I don't particularly rate him as a manager. I think you said about Lampard. I think that about Gerrard. He's also lost his right hand man in Bill. He's gone to QPR yesterday, which I think could be a massive blow. It's just something about Villa. I don't get the hype. But that's just me. I don't think they're very good. To be honest, I don't. And Tom may get abuse from Villa fans being in the Midlands, but I really just don't think they're very good.
No, Villa are a funny one, and I think they've got to be really careful with their transfer business, because I feel like if obviously as a Brighton fan, when you look at our transfers seem to be really, we really know what we want out of our transfers, regardless of whether that's buying a young player in the end game to develop them, then sell them, or to pick a very specific player, and if that player isn't available, we don't purchase. Whereas I think Villa's approach seems to be more of a scattergun approach. We'll sign lots of different people and we'll just hope for the best. That's the sort of inclination I get from Villa. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can pull off in the summer and where they end up. Let's just hope that our own Basuma doesn't go that way. So let's climb up the table and get off that unlucky number 30 and talk about 12th. I've gone for our friends up the road in 12th. As I've already alluded to in a previous episode, I think that Vieira's done a really good job at Palace, and I think that they'll solidify themselves in the mid-table next season. They'll do enough to sort of not be bothered by relegation, but I don't think they'll be threatening the top 10 myself. Dan, who have you gone for in 12th place, mate?
I've gone for Leicester, purely because of again I've said one of the other teams, aging squad, still really relying on Vardy really to score goals. Harvey Barnes is decent. Madison had an alright season last season. So yeah, I think they won't make mid-table if they don't make any 1-2 signings to replace those aging players.
Yeah, Leicester were one of those teams that this season just really seemed to underperform, not to the standard we've seen over the last few seasons. Perhaps it's just Brendan Rodgers losing his magic. Who knows? Aaron, who have you tipped to finish just outside the top 10 and 12th?
I've gone for Wolves. Wolves are a weird team. They could be higher, they could be lower. You just don't really know what you're going to get. I think towards the end of the season they sort of fell off a little bit, and they're just an odd team. I think they're going to lose Ruben Neves, which will be a big blow. You've got Moutinho in there. He's getting, he's getting on a bit. Jimenez's goals have dried up a little bit. You've got Hu Chan Wing or whatever his name is, the Japanese striker. Again, doesn't score many goals, and I think that could be their issue this year. This year is that they can, they can't score goals. Where beforehand, they could defend for their lives and nick something. I just can't see it from next year, so that's why I put them in 12.
Yeah, Wolves are a funny team. They defend really well, but they don't score a lot. And Joe has also shared that sort of opinion, and he too has put Wolves in 12th. So let's close out the bottom half of the table by chatting about 11th then. Dan, who have you gone for finishing 11th?
I've gone for Wolves to finish at 11th. As we've already said, funny team. They were doing very well defensively last season too. Then all of a sudden, sort of like say with us, we completely played them off the pitch. We did very very well against them. If they don't sort of say Neves, I think I can see him going somewhere else. Maybe some other players. Maybe I can't see Cody leaving. But they always seem to sign players that we wouldn't expect them to. Like I said, with all the Portuguese players they got there, is incredible. But yeah, that's where I think they'll finish.
How about you, Aaron? Who have you gone for finishing in 11th place?
I have gone for Crystal Palace. Pretty much really what you would expect. I think, Vieira's done an okay job. I don't think that's going to be mid-table for the rest of their lives. They're not going to go anywhere higher than 10th. Unlike us, where we finished 9th last year.
It's true, we did finish 9th.
With record points tally. Anything else? Just, we're massive.
Just like Cucurella's hair. So for 11th, I've gone for Villa. As I've already alluded to, I think that their approach to buying players isn't perhaps as concise as it could be, but I'll probably be proven wrong. And Joe has gone for Villa as well. So that's nice. We've just shared that again. So let's talk 10th then. So we're talking about the top 10 now. So Aaron, in your head, next season, who's going to get that 10th place?
Leicester. Very strange team again this year. I think being in Europe has sort of been a massive hindrance more than anything. And towards the end of the season, that's all they were focusing on. I think it showed in some of their performances. They just looked very sort of tired and a bit leggy, which is fair enough. If you're playing Thursday, Tuesday, then Thursday, Sunday. Sorry, you're going to be tired. If this is a big if the likes of Vardy stays fit, you keep James Justin fit, you keep Barnes, Madison, again could finish higher, but it's all ifs and buts. But then again, that's what we're doing. If these things don't happen, that's where they'll finish. But if they do, they could finish higher. And that's one thing I quite enjoyed in about predictions because you just don't know. You generally just do not know.
Exactly. It's like I said at the top of the episode, it's mathematically almost impossible to predict the table because we're doing this, before the transfer window is even opened. And it's all based on so much. What if this player stays fit? What if this team brings in this player? Which is why I think it's more interesting because next season we could look back at these predictions and be like, oh my God, did we really think that? So yeah, I think it's good fun. Dan, 10th place. Who do you feel, mate? Who are you feeling?
I've gone for Aston Villa. Steven Gerrard, at the wheel, as it were. I say I think he's going to improve as a manager in the Premier League. Obviously, we say about all the signings they keep making, and see these crazy signings. That I think they've just bought a defender. Was it a couple of days ago? The same one that Newcastle I think wanted in the winter transfer window. They don't look like any stopping. As we said earlier, no, I really don't hope Suarez doesn't go there because as I've now put my prediction, this would be a backward step for him to do that. So yeah, well, they obviously with Ollie Watkins as well scoring goals as he was doing last season. I think he'll carry that on, but I don't think they'll get any higher than mid-table.
Decent. I've gone for Wolves to finish 10th. As we've already sort of alluded to, strong defensively, attacking wise, not so much. And I think that will start to hinder them. And I think we'll start to see a slow decline in their table positions. And Joe has gone for Newcastle. Maybe Joe thinks that the Saudi money will start rolling in and Newcastle will be able to start making headway in terms of their league position. So let's start chatting about the teams that finish inside the top 10. Dan, who do you think is going to finish in 9th?
I've got Newcastle. The Saudi money will be coming in, trying to improve the squad. I don't think they'll go crazy just yet because I can't see any pulling power they've got at all. Because if you're going up against Manchester City, Liverpool, even United to a point, you have to offer him crazy money to even consider going to Newcastle when you could go to the Champions League, Europa League, or whatever. So I think they'll be building up sort of slowly because that's the only smart thing to do. I think they'll just finish just inside the top.
You're right, Dan. That is the smart thing to do. However, football owners aren't always the smartest. Sometimes it's the I want it now approach. And as you say, unless you're offering stupid money, which we know that Newcastle have the financial clout to do now, unless you're offering stupid money, players of like the caliber that some Newcastle fans think they're going to be signing, there's no way that they're going to be choosing Newcastle over City, PSG, and some of the big names in European football. But we shall see. Aaron, who have you gone for finishing in 9th, mate?
I've actually gone for us. I think I'd happily take 9th, to be honest. I don't think we'll push for Europe. I think we're a teeny bit off that just at the moment, just a tiny bit. We're not miles behind. I think there's teams there with a little bit more nous, a little bit more know-how to get there, where I think we may need a little bit of luck to get there, maybe. I think there's not a rude or horrible thing to say. I think that's what we do need, a teeny bit of luck. So yeah, 9th. That's where I reckon we will finish, and I'll take that all day long because we're above Palace again. But always a bonus.
I would too take that 9th if you offered me that now. Joe has also gone for us to finish in 9th, which would be a fantastic season for us. I've actually gone for Leicester. I've picked Leicester to finish 9th. The Brendan Rodgers effect continuing that slow decline, maybe. And I just think that it's good for the Premier League to have teams sort of constantly battling for the top 10. And constantly improving. And it's nice to see that sort of like us, Villa, Wolves are now in that conversation. And maybe the days of Leicester and Everton being almost guaranteed top 10 finishes is coming to an end, which I think personally is good for the Premier League because I want to see more teams pushing for that top 10. So I have gone for Leicester to finish 9th, and Joe has gone for Brighton. So let's talk 8th. In 8th, I've gone for Brighton. I think we'll just about do one more than last year. But again, I don't think we'll be in the equation for Europe. I think it will be almost like a last day finishing 8th again. Or last day, again finishing, pushing for that top spot, as it were. I think a lot depends on our transfers, as it does with every team in the league. Losing Kukurea would be a big blow. Losing Basuma would be a lesser blow because we've got the likes of Caicedo coming through, Mwepu. For me, it's all about the striker. Undav has got fantastic numbers in the lower leagues across Europe and in the Belgian league. So he's a proven goal scorer. But, if we think the Belgian league, we're thinking Championship League One sort of standard, maybe. I don't know much about the Belgian league, but I think that it's probably on par with perhaps what we see in the Championship. And we've said that Mitrovic scores goals for fun in the Championship, can't do it in the Premier League. And it's the same with other Championship standard players as well. So whether Undav will be able to come in and deliver the sort of goal return he has done in Belgium remains to be seen. But I do think that we'll just about finish above where we did this season in 9th. So, I'll take 8th all day long and I'd be incredibly happy with that. Joe has gone for West Ham finishing 8th. So a slight decline for them. But Dan, who do you think will finish 8th next season?
I've gone for us to just miss out. If this is obviously all depending on what we know is going probably more likely to happen, which is always Basuma leaving and nothing else. I believe with the lone players coming back in, like Matoma and obviously and Dav as well. If they do, obviously Matoma, we hope he'll be coming into the squad. He's still firing away for Japan. I think he scored today. It will depend on how they fit into the squad, how everyone copes with them in the squad, and how well everyone else plays. Hoping that we can play exactly the same as we did this or last season, however we want to interpret it. But obviously improve our home form, which we can sort of maybe push on. But I think we'll just have a little bit less than we would like to be. But yeah, I think we all should be happy with a little bit better finish than this season.
I think it's all about those small progress, step by steps, which is why I've gone for us to finish 8th, because I think it's very much within the club structure. Instead of going for we're going to finish 4th, I think 8th is a more realistic target. But Aaron, who do you think is going to finish in 8th? Just missing out on Europe.
I've gone for Manchester United. I think it's going to be a season of big change. I think it's going to needs to change from top to bottom. The whole club is a bit of a mess at the moment. You've got some big egos in there. You've got, people leaving, as in like Pogba, Lingard, Mata, stuff, big players off the wage bill. You're going to have to give Ten Hag time. You have to. And this year, probably maybe a little bit of a struggle for him, maybe, and for the team in general. But when you have players, like Ronaldo, he can drag you up 2-3 spots just on his own. And this is just going from what my gut feeling is. I think they will spend money in the summer, but it takes time to get players to settle in and perform to their max, and that's literally the only reason why. I don't think that it's such a tight sort of gap between 8th and 5th for me. Really, it could be any of them. It generally could be any of them. It all depends on it, again, if buts and maybes. But that, I think, United out of the squad at the moment and out of the sort of where they're at, I think they're the weakest of the rest of the teams left.
Oh yeah, definitely. As you say, they need a complete overhaul in the way they do business. I think Ten Hag will struggle in his first season in the Premier League. Not necessarily struggle in the sort of like the Norwich struggle or the Fulham struggles or, that sort of struggle. But I think, as you say, like out of the established big teams, I think that they'll be the weakest. And I'm going to say something might be a bit controversial. I think he needs to get rid of Ronaldo. But that's just my opinion. And just really briefly, Paul Pogba leaving on a free for the second time in how many years? A decade. Yeah, absolute madness. So moving up the table into 7th, Joe has gone for Leicester. Now, we've talked about Leicester already. I've gone for Manchester United for the reasons I've just explained. I think Ten Hag will struggle a little bit in his first season in the Premier League, and I don't think that they will have the overhaul that is required yet. I think it will come, but not yet. Dan, who do you think is going to finish in 7th place?
Manchester United. I do think it's going to be one of those seasons for them that they're going to have to do a massive overhaul of their squad. A lot of same thing with Everton, but obviously they've got more resources. They can obviously with Pogba. Well, how much they bought him for? 80 million or something, and let him go for a free. That's I don't know how that's got to that point for them. They could have got at least 50, 60 for him back to send him on, but there we go. Obviously Lingard that he looks like he's going to go to West Ham. Yeah, because Ten Hag needs as Aaron said, needs time. You have to give it to him because otherwise they're just going to keep doing the same thing. And the thing with Ronaldo, obviously, I think I've said to somebody I know that what they need to do is just bring in another striker, at least to basically he ain't because he's good. Oh, he must be what nearly 40 now. I know he's fit as a fiddle, but he needs somebody to do the job with him or instead of him. They can play some more important games, whereas someone else can go and do like play against like something over the table, and obviously then United could play Ronaldo against like Man City or Liverpool or in the Champions League against PSG, against Real Madrid, and whatever. But yeah, they're going to struggle again this year. But I can't see them getting Champions League next season yet.
No. And I don't want to prolong the point regarding Cristiano Ronaldo, but the reason I think they need to get rid of him is because the situation you've just alluded to, Dan, seems good on paper, but no way is Cristiano Ronaldo going to be a bench warmer. And they're not going to be able to attract the quality of striker that they want if they're just going to be a bench warmer for Cristiano Ronaldo. So they're sort of between a rock and a hard place. So, as I say, I think Ten Hag needs to go in there, stamp his authority, and be like, don't want him. I don't think that will happen, but I think that's what should happen. But that's just me. Aaron, 7th place. Who you feeling?
I go for Newcastle. I just feel like they've sort of turned the corner a little bit, and now they have the money. I do feel like they're just going to just throw everything at it, to be honest. And I know you said about the pull power of the likes of United, City. Actually, ignore United, City, Liverpool, etc. I think Newcastle will just throw money at them, and they'll probably think, "Well, this is a nice stepping stone to the bigger clubs," which is fair enough. Why wouldn't you think that? And if they get the right players, they need it. To be fair, they need a sort of a good rebuild. Spend the money right, and you'll be fine. And I don't particularly like Newcastle, but I think money talks at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, what pulling power you have. Money talks.
Agreed. And it's the worst part of football. You look at again. I know I'm completely going off track, but look at PSG with Mbappe. Look at the sort of utter nonsense that is being reported about his power as a player, that he can have a say on who's going to be the coach and how they do things. It's ridiculous, and it's a rot that is within football, and it's because these people we were worth billions. They're just toy things, they're just playthings, these football clubs. I really hope that Newcastle don't go down that route. I've got nothing against Newcastle as a club. I've got a big problem with the owners of Newcastle, but nothing against Newcastle as a club. But I suppose what I hope is that if Newcastle do go down this route of spending loads of money, it's a sort of a gradual sort of, we're going to buy a couple of more quality players this season, progress a little bit, and then so on and so forth. I don't see it happening. I think you're right, Aaron. I think they'll just throw money at the club. But let's hope it goes the way of QPR and it all goes horribly wrong, because again, nothing against Newcastle, but it's not that's just so poisonous for football. It's just, and then how are we going to compete with that? How are the likes of Villa? Well, maybe not Villa because they spend silly money, but how the likes of Palace, Wolves, Fulham, how are we supposed to compete against that? It's just not a level playing field. And some people have will say, well, it's not supposed to be a level playing field. It's capitalism. So anyway, less about that. Let's talk 6th place. Let's talk really solidifying that top 6. Joe has gone for Spurs. Interesting one. Spurs are a funny team, and I'll talk a bit more about them when I talk about Spurs. I've gone for West Ham. I like West Ham. I've got a lot of time for West Ham. And David Moyes, as I've said in our West Ham episode when we played them on the final day of the season, I think David Moyes has done a really, really good job with West Ham. And I think that they'll go just one better and they'll finish in 6th place. Dan, who have you gone for to start the top 6?
I've got West Ham. They get anything less than that for them. It's probably a big disappointment. I think when they were getting into Champions League spots, now everyone was getting excited, and I think at the end of the season, they just got into Europa League, which is probably bad right for them. As long as I say, we're going to keep saying this, as long as they keep players like Bowen and having him firing, and obviously the stuff with Zuma now. Obviously, he's now got to a peaceful, sort of got a conclusion now with him being charged for it finally. I think they'll start the top 6.
Decent. How about you, Aaron? How are you feeling for the top 6?
I'll go for West Ham as well.
Nice and easy. West Ham to start the top 6 for us 3, and Joe has gone for Spurs. So let's move on to 5th. 5th, myself and Joe have both gone for Arsenal. I don't really want to say about Arsenal, really. I just don't think they're going to be challenging much higher up the table. I don't think that they're good enough for the conversation in regards to top 2 or even top 3. And I think Spurs will pip them to 4th, personally. I think, Arteta's done a reasonable job. So, yeah, I think they'll just sort of keep trundling along, not really troubling the established top 2, as it were, much bother, but they'll just finish just outside the top 4 in 5th for me. Dan, how about 5th for you, mate?
I've gone for Spurs. I think if obviously Kane has said he wants to stay at Spurs, so that's fine. He can carry on there. They'll do a partnership with Son. It's obviously, I presume he's going to stay as well. They did very well last season together. I don't see why they can't do it again and make sure that they battle for that top 4 and this time miss out, I think.
Interesting. Aaron, how about you? Which club do you think are going to be 5th?
Arsenal. They need to sign a striker. If they don't, it could be a long season for them. I think they're all set up really for European football now, which is nice. Arsenal should really be in a European competition most years. Pretty much. If they, I don't think they're better than Spurs at the moment. I think Spurs have got generally a better team, and at the moment probably a better manager in Conte. That's why I reckon they'll just get pipped by Spurs to go into 4th.
Couldn't have put it better myself, mate. And Joe has also gone for Arsenal, as I've already alluded to. And now for fourth, I've gone for Spurs. So let's flip the conversation. As you say, Aaron, I think Conte's a better manager. I think they've got a world-class striker in Harry Kane. And if he stays and if he stays fit, I think they will make the top four. So yeah, that's what I've gone for there. Dan, how about you, mate? Fourth place.
I've gone for the old sort of tiny thing we used to say, Arsenal fourth. So I can see what you guys say about Arsenal. The Conte is a better manager, and Arteta, but I think they could probably attract some good players too, because obviously I know they've only got Europa, and obviously Spurs got Champions League, but they're in the right, they're going the right way. I think with all the players they've got, with the good young players, still young squad, still learning, still getting their quality up. But yeah, I think they'll get Champions League next season. I think it'll be close again. I think Arsenal might just do it this time.
Interesting. Aaron, who have you gone for in fourth?
Spurs, I reckon it's going to be Kane and Son and Kulusevski masterclass to get at least 15 goals each. And Romero looks solid. I think Davis has been very good last year. So fourth for me. I think overall, I think they're just a better placed club than Arsenal at the moment. And I think Conte has a good sort of 90% of the reason why that is, to be honest. And that's why the likes of Kane and Son want to stay. And that's the reason why he brought Kulusevski and Bentancur to the club, because he has that pulling power, where I don't think Arteta does at the moment.
No, I think as you say, Conte is an established name in football, especially in Europe, and players will want to play under him. So yeah, definitely agree with that. Joe has gone for Manchester United, which is interesting because I'd love his take on that, because we've all said that United would finish sort of more towards 10th than pushing to top four. Maybe Joe believes in the ability of Ten Hag to turn the club around. But maybe he can clear that up for us on the next time he's on the show. So let's talk about top three then. Now, myself and Joe have gone for the same team, which is Chelsea. I think that Chelsea are probably the best of the London clubs, but something just tells me they're not on the same sort of level as the top two. Now, I think it's going to be an interesting one because I'm going to bring Liverpool into the conversation now. I don't know if the disappointment of the Champions League final and the last day sort of gasp is going to maybe derail them a little bit. I think Klopp is a phenomenal manager. I like him as a human being. But I don't know. I was really torn between Chelsea and Liverpool being in third. And I've gone for Chelsea. I think that they're a good team, but I don't think they're a great team. So that's the reason I've gone for Chelsea third. And I probably already alluded to who's going to be 1 and 2 in my books. But let's talk about your third place finish, Aaron. Let's see who you've gone for in third.
I mean, you're surprised if it's not a clean sweep. It's Chelsea for me, pretty much for the exact same reasons as you did too.
Yeah, as I say, good team, very good team. Don't get me wrong, very good team, but just not on the same level as the other two. Dan, who have you gone for in third?
Clean sweep, Chelsea.
Well, that was nice and easy, wasn't it? So here's where it gets interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a clean sweep as well. For second, who have you gone for, Aaron?
I have gone for Liverpool. I just think that this next year, I think they may be a little bit further behind City this year. I feel that City just coming into what I would probably say is probably going to be their peak City times, where they'll win, potentially maybe the next 5, 6, 7 leagues in a row. It wouldn't surprise me. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. And there's no disrespect to Liverpool. I just don't think I just don't think they're as good as City, in my personal opinion. No, player for player, I think maybe one or two players for me gets in that City team at a push. And other than that, I think City are stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I was surprised that it went to the last day of the season. Really quite surprised. Um, yeah, for me, Liverpool second. As I've already alluded to, I think that the disappointment of the Champions League final, taking it to the last day, so credit to them because, as Aaron's alluded to, City are a phenomenal machine. There is no other words that I can use to describe the job that Pep has done. And yes, a lot of that is, the money. They've got some of the best players in the world. And I think the disappointment from Liverpool side, I think it will filter into next season. So I think although that they will finish second, I think the gap will be bigger between Liverpool and City. Dan, are you going to make it a clean sweep, or do you think Liverpool are going to storm to the title?
Second one in a row, the clean sweep again, Liverpool. But I will sort of, I want to. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but like when you said the Champions League final disappointment, I'm sure they won the title the year after. I want to say, but I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't think so. I might be wrong, but someone can correct me. But yeah, I think Liverpool. I think that they've started. I can't see them. I think they could. I think it'll be tight again. They've. I don't know. Mane's on about going. Salah, obviously, we don't know what's happening with his contract either. Obviously, the new players coming in as well. I think they've got Lazio Cavallo, we talked about earlier, with leaving from Fulham. I don't know how he's going to fit into the squad anyway. But obviously, with all the good players they've got. So, yeah, I think it's going to be sort of a struggle for him. But I still think, Man City going to take it again.
Yeah, I think so. That means it's clean sweep for the title as well. Man City, I mean, what a team. It's hard to look past them. It really is. They've got world-class players. They've probably got the best manager in world football, perhaps ever. So it's really hard to look past Man City taking the title. And I genuinely think that this season will be a lot easier. This coming season will be a lot easier for them. It's hard to look past that for me. Aaron, any thoughts on Man City?
Yeah, Haaland's going to be some sort of cheat code. I feel like he is the missing link to where City now will say we are ready to dominate the Premier League. We're ready finally to dominate Europe. He scored one goal in every 84 games in 84 minutes. Sorry, in the Bundesliga. The best and closest player that City have had to that is Aguero scoring once in every 109 minutes. That's the ridiculous. 1 in 84 minutes is just dumb. Like very good. Now, don't get me wrong, Bundesliga is not as difficult as a Premier League, but the guy's like a fucking robot. Like everything, he's just so good. He's quick. He's strong. He can finish with both feet. He can head. How I don't understand how teams are gonna compete with City. And yeah, just, even like the players when you look on the outsets as well of the squad, they're still walking to most teams in this league, and they're playing second fiddle. You know, uh, yeah, City will. I hope City run away with it. I really do because I can't stand Liverpool.
You mentioned Haaland there. It's Manchester City have scored for fun without a recognised striker for the last 2 seasons, maybe at least 1.5. With Haaland in it, it's hard to see, as you say, Aaron. Who on earth is going to be able to withstand that sort of? I don't know. I just don't know. And Pep as well behind the wheel. Just give him the title now. Let the rest of us just play with the ball. Dan, any final thoughts on Man City that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'll probably just echo everyone else said. Really, Haaland, he's going to basically fire himself, and I don't think he'll do well in his first season though, because obviously it's still the league from the Bundesliga to Premier League is very, very different. So I think he might. It depends how he starts. For me, I think he might do well. But say anyway, a team without Haaland could do well anyway. A team with Haaland firing, doing well, it's gonna be a very, very scary few years because he's only going to get better. He's still a young guy, really. And if he still wants to stay at Man City through most of his career, Man City pretty much going to be winning the league. I probably would say 90% of the time. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Man City to win the title. I also think as well, I did want to add on to this as well. I think Man City as well will also probably do well in the Champions League. I think they might finally do it this time. It's got to be a time before they can keep getting to semi-finals and finals before they actually do it. But obviously, you have to see how it goes. But I do think Man City are going to dominate all cup competitions going forward.
It's hard to see, that not occurring. Just randomly about the Champions League, I think I read somewhere that apparently Yaya Touré's agent placed an African curse on Pep Guardiola, and that is why he's not won the Champions League for X amount of years. Maybe
how's he done
Haaland,
that then?
I don't know. Maybe Haaland will bring in some old Norse mythology, and Odin will finally grant Pep the Champions League he so richly deserves. So there you have it, guys. There are our Albion Obsessed Premier League predictions. Of course, we've made these predictions based on no transfer windows have been open. No players have moved from club to club. We could be completely wrong. For all we know, Nottingham Forest could absolutely storm the league, and Lewis Graben will be the golden boot. Who knows? But what we do know is we've had fun. So if you've joined us at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, it's Man City. But there you have it. So thank you for tuning in for our Albion Obsessed episode on predicting the league. Aaron's going to say something now. Aaron, say some words.
I was going to say goodbye. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content coming at you if you haven't already. We've got some great stuff coming over the post and pre-season in the next coming weeks and months. So thank you for listening. Aaron says goodbye. I say goodbye. Dan, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bye-bye now. Take care.